Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at eTrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at a very interesting bike rack. This is the Saris MHS 4-bike rack, and we're going to take a look at all of its really cool features and specs right here on our 2021 Kia Telluride. So the MHS is a modular hitch system, which means that you can switch around different bikes, different components of the MHS rack. So what we have here is our own very special thing, which is the 4-bike platform rack, where you can carry around 4 bikes. So 2 electric bikes, 2 regular bikes, or whatever configuration you want to do with this. We'll be taking a look at different specs and different measurements of this bike rack, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on our Kia Telluride. That way you can make the best decision for you, your different types of bikes, and your vehicle. So we're going to start with the trickiest part, which is the tilt away. And it's not tricky as in it's more heavy than anything. We have a lever here, as well as a little protector, a little guard on the bottom. So you're going to want to pull that lever and then drop that down till it reaches the ground. And why would you want to tilt away your bike rack? Well, if you want to access your hatch without having to take your bikes off. So notice with how high the Telluride is, we still have a very decent tilt away angle, giving us access or clearance for a hatch and our pedals and our handlebars. So now we can reach into our trunk, grab whatever we need. Notice though, it does kind of come sort of close to where our handlebars are. And I don't even have long handlebars, so definitely something worth considering. You may have to switch your bikes around. And once you've grabbed whatever you needed, all you need to do is lift up on the bike rack, and then it snaps into place, and you're ready to hit the road just like that. Very convenient, especially if you have 4 bikes up there. If you do have longer handlebars, I suggest just taking that bike off on its own in order to have access to your hatch. This has a weight capacity of 60 pounds per bike for your first 2 trays, so 1 and 2. Then notice how your 3rd and 4th kind of lift up. That's because these have a different weight capacity, so 35 pounds for those. So if you have heavy electric bikes, go ahead and put them closer to the vehicle. Your regular bikes, your carbon fiber frame bikes, further away. Speaking of carbon fiber frame bikes, notice the way our bike is strapped down. We have 4 mounting points. 1 on the wheel strap, giving us extra stability there. Then we have 2 and 3, which is going to be our wheel mounts. So notice how it holds it in by the front and the rear wheel, making it super duper easy to engage the bikes. When you need to secure your bikes, each and every tray has their own cable lock. So this goes around, secures around your bikes. You also have a lock core on the other side, and the keys you get with this bike rack can be used with whichever lock core on there. They're all keyed alike. So let's take the bike off. I'm going to start at the wheel strap. You just press that lever, pull up on the strap, and then put this over to this side so it doesn't get caught up in our spokes. This can go back and forth. We'll take a look at that later. And then we're going to go over here. So depending on how your bikes sit, you may want to go towards the front, towards the back. Notice where we have our grips though. So they're going to be on each side of the bike. I'm going to go reach here, press that handle, and push that out. So it's different from the tire hold, which has it on the tray itself. This has the handle on the wheel mount itself. So definitely something worth considering when you're trying to access your bike. But once you're here, you can now grab it and go. So notice how this mount goes around and secures your front and your rear wheels. You can adjust this up and down depending on your wheelbase or your tire size. You also have this strap, and this strap goes back and forth for those different wheelbases. Another cool thing about the tray system is that you can roll your bikes back and forth just to get the best clearance with your handlebars and your pedals. Definitely something that other people with platform racks struggle with. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to secure this strap. Notice how that tightens down to secure the wheel. Then I'm going to secure this wheel mount. And this goes down there. Another thing about wheelbase, as we do go back and forth, is that this can carry a maximum wheelbase of 53 inches. You do have a wheel chock right over here in the front just to help you out with that security for your front wheel. Another thing about capacities is your tire width. Remember how we took a look at the straps earlier? Well, you can go for a tire width of up to 5 inches. So if you have those fat bike tires, no issues at all there. So this is the 3+1 modular system. So it does add a lot of length to the back of your vehicle. Now our 4-bike version seems like a lengthy one too, so we'll take some measurements to see exactly how much does the 4-bike MHS add to our Kia Telluride. I'm gonna measure from our bumper here to right over here at the end of the rack, and it's 52 inches, so a little bit over 4 feet. Now, if you have a small garage, definitely something worth considering. When you're backing into a tight spot, don't forget that you have a huge MHS bike rack plus 4 bikes behind you. Now let's talk about ground clearance. We saw earlier when we tilted the bike away that the bike rack hit the ground. So our clearance is gonna be at the end of the bike about 12 inches. So that's gonna be a foot. Compare that to where our top tray sits, and that's 20 inches. Now that's also gonna be the measurement over by our shank. Our hitch receiver is about a foot up off the ground. Definitely something worth thinking about. When you're driving up those steep inclines, like your driveways or your hills, your front's gonna go up, your back is gonna go down. This is a good security guard for those ground clearance issues, but it is nice to know we have a little bit of shank rise, so our bikes themselves are sitting higher up off the ground. Now, what might happen is maybe you're not planning on taking your bikes out for a ride just yet, but you also don't want to take the bike rack off, or maybe you want to store it inside your garage. What you can do is fold this up into the compact or portable position. Remember that lever we pulled earlier? You're going to want to pull that lever again, but this time, instead of dropping down, you're gonna have to lift up. This is a heavy rack, so get that up there, and it stops at a certain point. So we're gonna have to pull that lever again, just to bring it back up. This is tricky, because it's a heavy rack. But if I can do it, you can do it too. So notice how much space it takes up behind our car. Let's take some measurements to see exactly how much. First is, does it make contact with our car? Well, closest point is actually going to be from our bumper to our front wheel mount, and that sits at 3.5 inches away. Plenty of clearance there. Length now added to the back of our car. Bumper again, end of bike rack, about 11.5 inches, maybe 12 inches if you include this handle. So definitely big difference compared to when this rack was folded down. You can see that if you do have issues with clearance inside of your garage, you can put it up like this. Now note, if you do have it up like this, what is it like living with a bike rack this big behind you? Notice how most of our rear window is covered. Our taillights are kind of visible through the bike rack, through this opening, but does cover the inside lights of our Telluride. Our license plate is definitely covered, as is our rear camera. The good thing though about the Telluride is you do have that 360-degree view. So while this area will be blocked off, you can still kind of see around you through your other cameras. So if that's going to be a major issue for you, you may want to consider driving around with the bike rack in the down position instead. Now this uses a 2-inch shank to fit into our 2-inch hitch receiver. We get a lock at the hitch receiver too, so this will help secure your bike rack, and again you can use these keys on the cable locks on all 4 trays. Now the anti-rattle bolt to tighten it down helps secure that shank to the hitch receiver. I use a 5/8 socket, or you could use a 16mm socket to tighten that down. I know it's really small in terms of socket sizes, but with it fully in place, let's do a quick shake test, shall we? Let's shake our bike rack just to simulate that road movement and vibration. We have a little bit of movement right where the add-on trays are, but the shank itself is pretty secure. So that's definitely something worth keeping in mind. You will still have some movement, but a lot of the rattle at the hitch receiver itself is cut down. My personal thoughts about the Saris MHS rack for 4 bikes is it's a huge rack. It is a modular system though, so it's very similar to the Exo system in that it lives in its own special category. If you want the ability to switch things around, have the add-on, not have the add-on, you can take this top bike off. That's what this is for. If you're looking for just a 4-bike platform rack, we have other options right here at eTrailer. We have the Destination rack from Hollywood Racks. That's a more affordable, but doesn't have the same kind of premium features. We also have the Kia NV4 bike platform rack, which is pretty cool as well. Definitely check that one out if you want just a basic bike rack that can do a lot of things. But this focus is the modularity, the ability to switch things around. So if you're interested in the MHS system and you're wondering if it will fit on the Kia Telluride, from this video you can see that it can. So hopefully this video helped you out with choosing the best bike rack for you, your bicycles, and your vehicle. But right here, right now, we took a look at the Saris MHS for 4 bikes right here on our 2021 Kia Telluride.